Well, welcome to this video from the Project Academy to introduce you to the new Chartered Project Professional Standard. You may well have already visited our website and gained some key information there. Perhaps you've even seen our short 3 to 4 minute introductory video. But here we're going to give you more insight, more depth and understanding of chartership itself, the application process, the different routes to it, and the programs that are available to you from our specialist team to enable you to succeed for your chartership application. But I would like to highlight that beyond this video, just to remind you, there are key resources available on our website, including our readiness checker, which is also available for you to really look into the experience that you have and double check that you are ready to go for chartership. There's also our fact sheet on there, which will give you a summary of some of the things I'm going to go through in this video, including the pricing and the elements of each of the programs. So let's now look at some of the benefits that are available to you as an individual going for chartership, and I'm going to come on to the organisational benefits in just a moment. For many of us, certainty is a really important aspect of our careers. Certainty over what capability do we actually have and how does that measure up against our peers. Maybe we're looking for greater job security, security for our family, or greater assurance of that capability within ourselves. For some, it will be about gaining status, that professional recognition, both in the UK and internationally, through an independent assessment by our peers, giving us that stamp of approval that we have gained that key accreditation and experience in our careers. For some of you, it'll be about networking, meeting with peers and working alongside peers who are managing complex projects and programs within the profession. For many, it'll be about growth. How can I develop my skills and take a real stock of my career to date and understand what skills I have, my strengths, and what areas do I still need to go and develop? And for some, it'll be really about how you can make a bigger contribution by being a chartered project professional to society and your organisation. From an organisational perspective, one of the things we're seeing more and more is the need, the demand in a sense by senior management for assurance, that understanding of the capability and credibility of the people that you hire or promote to run your most important projects. Some will require at organisational level an independent or external assessment of your individuals so that there isn't in a sense that organisational groupthink as regards what good looks like. For some, it'll be about the organisation's ability to attract and retain talent. We're seeing more and more that organisations who really commit to career development in project management and support people gain accreditation not only attract the best, but then retain the best. For many, it'll be about organisational capability. How can you grow the capability of the people within your project's community? Well, we believe that the Chartered Standard is now going to be a career development pathway for that development of organisational capability. And ultimately, through all that, it's got to lead to greater performance within the organisation. Those that we've seen, both UK and internationally, develop their projects community and go through key assessment and accreditation processes seem to be able to get greater organisational performance to meet organisations' objectives. Now let's look at a little bit of the backstory about chartership. Well, it started several years ago with the creation of what became Registered Project Professional, but that did actually start out as being the proposed Chartered Standard. That was developed in 2011, launched in 2012, and has over 1,200 senior professionals across the globe have gone for Registered Project Professional. A new version was launched in 2017, but very close behind that, the APM then gained its chartered status. In which case they were now ready to create that chartered standard, taking everything that had been learnt from the Registered Project Professional standard before. A consultation went out to the general public and the standard was ratified in November 2017 and then launched earlier this year in 2018. As regards the standard itself, well, some of its key aims are firstly to drive up standards, both for individuals, organisations and in the profession. Barriers to entry into project and program management have been, in my view, woefully low over the years, and now it's time to drive much higher standards. We've all seen the statements, the reviews about project failure. Well, I think going forward, the tolerance of organisations and society for project failure is going to increase. That tolerance there is going to get tighter and tighter, and demands to demonstrate the capability of people is going to become all important. So this is about enhancing the status not only of individuals but the profession itself within wider society, and provides that professional benchmark now against which we can measure our own capability. In order to go for chartership, you're going to need to demonstrate your technical knowledge at an advanced level, and also your professional practice, how you have applied key competencies across the project life cycle in 10 core competencies, and across also a couple more electives that you get to choose. You're also going to need to demonstrate your ethical behaviour, so your understanding of codes of conduct and how you've applied that and led from the front and driven that within your project teams. So the assessment of chartership is designed to be rigorous. I hope you'd agree that it shouldn't be a walk in the park. Something that carries the kudos and status of chartership should be something that's rigorously assessed, and there's a written stage and an interview stage for chartership that you would need to go through. But the Chartered Standard is going to recognise a whole host of different career pathways towards chartership. So whether you've focused on project delivery, programme management, or perhaps managing across an organisational portfolio, then chartership is going to be suitable for you. But also if you've managed across key control functions, or perhaps managed a PMO, projects or programme management office across an organisation, there will be a pathway in for you for your career into chartership. So where does chartership sit within the hierarchy of qualifications and standards that are out there? Well, you may be aware that the APM has a competency framework with 5 different levels of competence. Those of you that work in an international environment may be aware of the IPMA, or International Project Management Association. They have a series of levels, D through to A, which I've roughly aligned here to the APM's competence framework. Then as regards APM qualifications that you may be aware of, let's look at the hierarchy there. There's the Fundamentals qualification, used to be known as Introductory Certificate. Next up was PMQ. Formerly, some of you may have gone for what was called then APMP, which is a really powerful baseline knowledge and understanding of project management, but isn't at the chartered level. A couple of years back, the APM launched Project Professional Qualification. That has 4 key exams involved with it, and is for those who are managing projects of limited complexity. So when we move into the chartered level, whether you're coming in at IPMA level B, but you've got to be managing complex projects, and I'll take you through what those complexities are in a while. So for some people, you may have been in projects world for 10, 20, 30 years and have run some real mega projects or programs. So you may be coming in at that higher level, and that's absolutely fine. But for those of you that have managed at least one complex project, program or portfolio, then chartership level at level 4 or 5 in the APM's proficiency would be a suitable pathway for you. If we were to look at those APM competence levels, and I'm not going to go through every one of these levels here, but we believe that the chartership level really sits at APM's proficient or expert level. But what does that mean? Well, I've already mentioned that it requires at level 4 or 5 for you to have managed in some key complexity environments. Also that you've supervised others, and the way that I look at that is that you've managed the input and performance of others, whether they're direct reports or a multidisciplinary team or key stakeholders or supply chain. You've managed their input and performance in a set of core competencies that are mandatory under chartership. From a knowledge level, you're going to need to demonstrate why it is you selected the tools and techniques that you have. What was unique about your project and drove you towards selecting particular methods, and what other methods were open to you? For some of you, you may have gained even higher levels of expertise in some core competencies, for example, if you educate others within your organisation. So just to reiterate again, it's levels 4 or 5 in the APM's competence framework that you're going to need to demonstrate in the mandatory competencies. Now let's look at some of the requirements of chartership. Well, there are 4 key requirements here that are on the screen. One is that demonstration of your advanced technical knowledge and all the interacting factors that go around selecting the tools and techniques that you use. That application of this knowledge through professional practice will be critical, and you'll need to demonstrate that professional practice with the majority of your evidence within the last 5 years. You'll also need to demonstrate your commitment to your own professional development, at least by having a minimum of 35 hours relevant continued professional development in the 12 months prior to your application. And then, as I mentioned before about ethics, you'll need to be writing about and be prepared to be interviewed about your understanding of good ethical conduct within the project's world and how you've applied this on your projects. So these are some of the core underpinning requirements of the Chartered Standard. I mentioned complexity earlier. There are 4 key criteria that you'll need to be demonstrating within at least one of the projects that you put forward. And that's that your project or program has had degrees of uncertainty or conflicting objectives. That there's been high levels of unpredictability within the project. This often happens earlier on in the project life cycle, or there's been high levels of risk within the project or program. You'll need to demonstrate that there's been multiple work packages within a project, or projects within a program that you've run, or projects and programs within a portfolio. The other key aspect is how have you managed and understood your stakeholder environment. You'll need to demonstrate that you've worked across multiple independent stakeholders, many of whom may have conflicting objectives and requirements for which you've managed to at least help to resolve. So these are the complexity requirements that you'll need to demonstrate when you offer forward to the APM between 1 and 4 projects, predominantly within the last 5 years of your experience. I mentioned mandatory competencies earlier. There's a set of 10. We can see these on the screen here, and I'd hope you'd agree that you would expect these to be implemented on any well-run project or program. In light blue, we have 2 versions that are available around the monetary aspects of projects. You can either elect to go for budget and cost control, or for those that have got more financial management experience, you could select that as one of your mandatory competence areas. The elective competencies we can see on the screen here, and these are drawn from the APM's other competencies within their framework. Here the remaining 5 you can see on the screen. And you need to demonstrate 2 out of those 15 options that are available to you. So there's quite a leeway there. Beyond the mandatory 10 competencies, you've got to select 2 from a set of 15 that you're going to put forward in your written submission and in the interview. Those competencies are derived from the APM's framework, as I mentioned, and there'll be a set of criteria within each competence that you'll need to demonstrate your professional practice and your technical knowledge. Typically, that's going to be 4 areas within each competence that you're going to need to provide. Now, our chartership mentors are on hand to support you, as well as in our e-learning modules in our programs. So I'll come back to that a little bit later. There are 3 routes to chartership. We suspect that route 3, which is an experiential route, will be the main route for most professionals over the coming years. Route 1 is for those that can demonstrate a prior assessment in technical knowledge. Now, at this stage, although the APM have opened up accreditation schemes, there are very, very few, if any at this stage, organisations who have got a technical knowledge accreditation to give a bypass through that shortened Route 1. Route 2 is really for those of you who have already gained registered project professional. There you'll get a bypass mainly into just a shortened interview stage because you've already demonstrated your prior technical knowledge and professional practice. So let's look at those routes in a little more detail as regards application. All of them require an initial application online to the APM, providing details of proposers. That'll be 2 proposers who know you, who are senior informed stakeholders. You'll need to demonstrate your 35 hours of continued professional development and sign up to your commitment to the APM's Code of Professional Conduct. As regards technical knowledge, in Route 1, you've already got a prior technical assessment, as you will have in Route 2. In Route 3, the APM will assess this predominantly through about an hour's worth of the 2-hour interview, asking you around your technical knowledge on various competencies. In your professional practice, in Route 1 and Route 3, you'll provide a written submission, which will then get validated within the interview stage. Under Route 2, there's no need for you to provide a written submission for your technical and your professional practice, because that's already been applied. At the interview stage, you can see that there are varying durations here. The most demanding is through Route 3, but that's the only route that you can take if you don't have a prior assessment to offer to the APM at a particular level. Now, our readiness checker online, which is available through our website, is a way in which you can assess which route is likely to be most appropriate for you. Here you'll be able to undertake a series of questions. It's pretty detailed. It'll take you about 15 or 20 minutes, but really worthwhile if you really want to check that you're ready for chartership and which route is appropriate for you. So that's a summary of the chartered process that you'll be able to undertake. I'm really pleased now to take you through 2 new programs that we have available. Now, these programs have been adaptations for the Chartered Standard based on tried and tested programs we've been running with senior project professionals for many years. In fact, we're pleased to have a track record of over a 90% success rate, supporting over at least, I think now, 300 senior project professionals gain APM's highest qualifications and standards. These programs that are on offer to you are for those who believe that you have now reached a point in your career where you're ready to go for that chartered standard. Both programs are going to have some core elements to them to enable you to really understand how to go for the application, most importantly to put your best foot forward. This is going to take quite a bit of time to get a really good application together. You don't want to waste that time, and you want to increase your chances of success. You'll be gaining access to our advanced online systems so that you can undertake a skills assessment. You'll be able to have a discussion with one of our chartered mentors to look at that self-assessment and double check that you are at that right stage in your career for chartership. Both programs are going to be offering a 1-day workshop, which is going to be essential to understanding the standard and gaining your confidence to go ahead and look at your written application. You'll also gain e-learning modules, those to support you through the written application, and we have a whole host of modules available to you for the interview stage. For those going for what we refer to as our mentored accreditation program, you'll also gain the benefit of a one-to-one mentor assigned to you. Now, typically to go for a chartered application and gain your final result, you're going to need to allow around 6 months. Now, that's not 6 months of solid work, because there will be periods when your application will be with the APM or you'll be awaiting interview. But you do need to allow an overall time window of approximately 6 months to gain chartership. I'm really pleased to announce our team. We've been developing this team over many years. As I say, the team has now worked with over 300 senior professionals with that 90% success rate. That team includes people that have been heads of profession. We have 2 heads of profession from key government departments. Also, we have people that have worked in the private sector at a senior level, supporting organisational change and capability development. All of our people are highly qualified within APM's various professional standards, and also several have become approved assessors for the APM, which gives you that extra edge in understanding how to put your best foot forward and what to expect in both the written and in the interview stages. I mentioned the skills assessment. We hold a license for the APM's competence assessment, and will give all of the people on our programs access to that online system. You'll then be able to gain your own personalised report with a gap analysis against that chartered profile. You'll gain access to the e-learning suite of modules, both for the written submission. There's a pair of modules there, and then we've created a suite of modules for the interview stage. This will be able to give you a refresher on the tools and techniques using the APM's methodology and languages, and each of those will have a key e-learning module for each of the mandatory suite that you'll potentially be assessed at within interview. The workshop, this will be a one-day workshop for you to meet and work alongside peers who are also going for the standard. One of our chartership mentors will be running that program, and that will give you that essential insight to that standard and enable you to go away really confident about starting your application process. Because of the experience that we have within this, we'll also be able to give you key hints and tips, and also examples from many of our previous applicants who have worked alongside the Project Academy. You'll be able to sign up to webinars that will be running. Now, there will be webinars available to you to join ahead of you joining one of our programs to really understand what you'll be able to gain as regards the benefits from those programs. But we'll also be providing small group clinics, so you'll be able to join with peers of yours and one of our mentors to have Q&A sessions and examples of what good looks like for your application. Those of you electing for our more supported mentored program, you'll gain that one-to-one support from the mentors. Here they'll work alongside you as you develop your written submission, and there'll be two key phases where you'll be able to submit your draft application to them, and they'll effectively put their assessor hat on and look at the quality of that application as if they were an APM assessor. You'll then gain phone feedback from them, building your confidence and enabling you to tweak various aspects of your application to really get that really polished feel as you submit to the APM. Now, that process itself has been able to secure that greater than 90% success rate over the last few years. So we can see on the screen the various stages of the two programs, as I say, with the mentor program having those additional benefits of higher levels of support. As I mentioned, you'll need to allow around 6 months for the overall process, but also around 70 to 80 hours is what we would recommend you set aside for a really well-written submission, as well as preparing for that 2-hour interview. Now, as regards the fees for the program, in the blue block on the screen here are the Project Academy's fees. Now, we have two versions, the core program and the mentored program. For those of you electing to go on our open courses here to support you through that, the core program will be $995. But if you are a participant, whether present or past, on the government's Project Leadership program, where we are one of the partners within delivering that program, you'll gain a discount enabling you to go for that for $885. The mentored program is $1795 or $1675 if you're on the PLP. You also need to make allowance in your budget for the APM's assessment fees. There'll be 2 stages for this, and you'll be liable to pay the APM privately for these, although maybe you can claim these on expenses within your organisation. Most of our clients do that. The written application stage is $610 and the interview stage is $500. So as regards next steps, firstly, if you're interested in signing up for one of our programs, please bear in mind that places are strictly limited. The approach we take at the Project Academy is that we are about the quality of the journey for our clients. We're not there as regards filling as many seats as we can on loads of different programs. So places will be limited, and we are already oversubscribed for those programs that are coming up shortly. So if you'd like to get your name down for one of the future programs, please do get in touch, and there's details coming on the screen in a moment. We'll be able to provisionally allocate you a place on one of the forthcoming programs, followed by an invoice. We do need to either receive payment or at least a purchase order in order for you to secure your place on either the core or mentor program. We'll then get that group up and running and get the first workshop on its way, typically within 4 to 6 weeks of securing the full suite of people on the program. As I mentioned before, there are further resources available on our website. By all means, get in touch with us either via phone or via our info@ email address. But do remember that there are a suite of resources available to you on our landing page on the website, including that all-important readiness checker. If you'd like to do that, then do bear in mind that will take 15 or 20 minutes to do, but could save you so much time down the road. And you'll get a little personalised feedback once one of our members of the team have been able to review the readiness checker that you'll submit. So we hope that this video has been powerful for you in understanding the standard as well as the opportunity of the different programs we have available to you. So please do get in touch or sign up for one of the programs. I look forward to seeing you later on one of our programs down the road. Many thanks.